What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Rich and Turbo Heavy Half Hour. My name's Rich. You can find me on X at FuzzDoomRip, all the other socials at Rich.Piva, doing reviews for Musicpedia of Metal, and as a Doom Charts contributor. From his void in Tennessee, here is Turbo. Turbo, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, Turbo.
All the void lets me say.
We're very excited. We've been lucky enough to have some real, and Bob might not like me calling him this, but legends on the show lately, especially. But we have Bob Balch, who, if you don't know who he is, you're probably listening to the wrong show. But we can read Fu Manchu, Big Scenic Nowhere, Slower, Yawning Balch, what else? Everything else that we can think of.
Lots of stuff. Yeah,
lots of stuff. How you doing, Bob? How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Excellent. Thank you for joining. Turbo and I were kind of doing some research, and we've had Tony Reed on the show before, and we joke that he's like on everything that comes out, and I think you're on the things that he's not on. So between the two of you guys, I think you guys are covered for every release that comes out. How do you keep so busy? How do you do it? Like, what's how do you get involved in all of these different projects?
I mean, I never really leave this environment, unless I'm surfing or on tour or doing stuff with the family. So luckily, I sit in this chair teaching all day, and then when I'm not teaching, I could just plug things in and record straight from here. I don't even have to stand up. There's pedals everywhere, there's guitars everywhere, so that helps a lot. I bought this piece of gear called the Aux Box, which came out a couple of years ago, I think like 6-7 years ago, but it just lets you run amps into it, and then you go into your computer and you can just record studio quality guitars with like headphones on, and you're using your like own amps. I got like an 80s Marshall that goes into that thing, and it's cool to hear the old with the new, But once I got that, I think I got that right when we started doing Big Scenic Nowhere, and I was like, I'm taking time off teaching and going to a studio and bringing all my shit, but I want to have everything accessible and just have a home studio. And so that was the first step in that process. And ever since then, you can just bang out records real quick because, I could track guitars in a half an hour versus loading up my car and driving somewhere to a studio and unloading it, shooting the shit and doing all that, So
No, that's awesome.
That
awesome.
helped a lot.
And the quality of stuff that you bang out is also just always top notch. One of the first thing I want to ask you about, when I was chatting with Todd from Ripple Music, we were just talking about bands that maybe we could have on the show, and he mentioned you, and he mentioned something that you're working on for Ripple. What can you tell us about it? Can you give us any details or tease a little bit about what you're working on?
It's named Axe Dragger, and it's an old school heavy metal record. Like, I'm just pulling all the influences from my childhood, and it's got myself on guitar, the bass player from Dark Funeral, ex-drummer of Pentagram, and the first singer of Pantera, Terry Blaze, on vocals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and Pete Campbell reached out to me a while back about doing some stuff. He's the drummer, ex-drummer from Pentagram. And so I was sending him stuff back and forth, and then I was like, we should see what Terry Glaze from Pantera is doing, because I've had to teach some of his stuff outside of Pantera. Was it like Lord Tracy? One of my students is into that stuff.
Oh.
And anyway, I reached out to him, and he was into the first song, and then one song became two, became three, and then at first it was going to be an EP, and then we just kept having fun doing it, and now it's going to be a full album. We're about to track song 10, and we're just mixing as we track, and it's been awesome. So I'm thinking we'll probably be done with the record. I got to go on the road with Fu next week, so we'll probably be done in the middle of August, and then have it out probably in the early spring. I wanted to try to get it out around Halloween because it's kind of that sort of record, but it's kind of close, so we'll probably have to push to spring of next year. But it's pretty awesome. I grew up listening to Death and Death Angel and a lot of the old school metal stuff that we all grew up with, Judas Priest, Old Maiden, and stuff like that. So a lot of that goes into that record, and you'll hear it and be like, oh yeah, I can tell.
That's awesome.
Pretty obvious.
That sounds amazing. And you mentioned Pentagram Pete is how I've been heard him referred to. Is that how you wound up? If I'm not mistaken, the Rust Bucket record he's involved with, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
There?
So he just asked me to do a lead on that. I think. Yeah, I think I just did like a solo, or maybe I did rhythm. I don't even remember. But yeah, he's involved with that. So he just sent me the track. He's like, "Hey, we stoked if you could, play on this." And like I said, I sit here teaching, so if I got a half-hour break in between students, I just plug in, do a lead, send it over. Like, all right, cool, later.
Based on looking just quickly searching a name on Bandcamp, I feel like that happens a lot. Do you get a lot of like emails or texts or calls and said, "Hey, we need a lead. Hey, we need a solo"?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, because I've done it a handful of times, to the point where I forget, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I did play on that. That's cool," But once again, if I had to load up my car and take a day off and go track some, I would remember all that shit. But I could just do it so quick and send it off and go, "Yeah, there you go." So that helps a lot. And so that kind of stuff really helped a lot during COVID, because everybody was just kind of trapped for in the beginning of 2020, and Big Scenic Nowhere had just done 3 days of jamming like right before that, so I had just hours of stuff to sift through, and Tony and I would go back and forth and chop it up and edit it. I'd re-record things, and it was pretty therapeutic to do during that time.
Very cool. Turbo.
Yeah. So if it's easy to record, I'll do it, and I'll just send it over if it's cool.
Love it. It's awesome. Turbo, what do you got for Bob? I've already dominated the beginning as usual.
You mentioned earlier, when you mentioned Tony Reed working together, you two did one of my favorite AC/DC songs and made it awesome. I was kind of wondering, how do you get into your headset to do different things the way you do, for different types of bands? And also,
funny? I'm trying to remember. I'm like, fuck, which AC/DC song did we
what's next? What's next to the moon?
What's next to the moon? Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Also, is that the only AC/DC song? Does it have a solo or not?
I don't believe I put a solo on it, but
I don't think Angus has a solo on it either.
Yeah, and it's got kind of a pretty melodic progression to it too. I mean, we were just talking about doing it different than AC/DC, and I think the idea came up of, I think I sent him a couple of examples, and I think, if I remember correctly, one, I was using this guitar, which is a baritone, which is really low, and so I was like, but what if we did like a baritone, like heavy version of it? And I sent him that, and then I sent him another one that was kind of the one you heard, which was a little bit more mellow and like a new romantic type shit. And he's like, that's cool, let's explore that. And then we just went from there back and forth to figure out how to finish it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting question that I think Turbo was going towards also, was like, you have what you do in Foo, you have kind of what you do in Big Scenic, and then Yawning Balch, where you get a little way more trippy. Then you have Slower, where you're just riff maniac with whether it's the Slayer riffs or the ones that you came up with for the material there. How do you get into that different mindset of the type of music that you're going to be recording? Is it something, do you just kind of listen to things to get into that, or just kind of get your head into that particular type of style?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really decide it so much. It just kind of happens. I mean, like the Axe Dragger stuff, I was feeling like I gotta fucking make like a metal record, you know what I mean? Because I teach all kinds of shit all day long, and I go teach like some old school Judas Priest or something. I'd be like, fuck, like I have that in me because I've been listening to that shit since I was like, 10. And so that's almost done. When that's done, then I'll shift gears and do some other shit. But it's kind of like one thing at a time. But yeah, I'll listen to whatever. Like if I'm recording and something like that, I'll listen to that style of music to get inspired for sure, just like anyone else. So Big Scenic Nowhere, I listen to a lot of like Pink Floyd type stuff. I don't know. I mean, Sun and Sail Club's another project that I have with the guitar player, the singer of the Adolescents, and the bass player from Caius, and the drummer from Foo, and that stuff's pretty like hardcore punk influenced. So I just get entrenched in that shit, and then just barf out a record, and then kind of move on.
That's not you sing. I thought you were singing on the Sun and Sail.
On the first record, I do using a vocoder. So that's like basically like a guitar, you plug into. It's funny. I'm like, all this shit's within arm's reach. I use this one on the first Sun and Cell records. So your guitar goes in here, and then a mic goes in here, and then whatever you play on the guitar, you could like say shit into the mic, and it'll just do those notes. You know, so it's kind of like, I mean, you know, for the layperson, like a Peter Frampton type thing, but that's not a vocoder. That's more of a talk box. But yeah, I was doing that on the first record, and then the next two, Tony Adolescent from the Adolescents sang on that one.
I love the last record you did with Tony. It blew me away because I was not expecting, looking at the band. Of course, Tony, I would know. I love the Adolescent records, the earlier Adolescent records. So I kind of had an idea what we were getting into with him on vocals, but just you guys in general, the musicians, not necessarily the normal thing that you play there. Are you a fan of that kind of music, or yeah? What are some of your favorites in that genre?
I mean, when I was growing up, like my older brother got me into like Sabbath and Ozzy, rest in peace, and all the metal shit. And then I was at Tower Records probably like I was like 12 or 13, and I saw the DRI album Violent Pacification, and just looking at that as a kid, you know, it's like the skeleton with the bayonet and everything, and I'm like, and I looked at the back, and there's like, you know, 30 songs on one cassette, and it's like $6. I'm like, this is the hardest working band I've ever heard of. This is fucking crazy. And I'm like, I'll buy it. And I went home and listened to it, and I thought that my my tape player was broken, you know, because it's so fast. That album's, everything's so fast. And I was at first, I'm like, fuck, I gotta take this back. This isn't what it's supposed to sound like. And then I listened to it, I'm like, no, the vocals sound normal, you know. And then I'm like, holy shit, there's a whole other world of this like crazy hardcore punk shit out there that I wasn't really used to at the time. And so DRI kind of opened the door for me. And then, you know, I had friends who had older brothers that are like, oh, you gotta check out, you know, the Misfits and Black Flag and Minor Threat and Poison Idea and all that shit. And just kind of, I mean, then you go down deep and you're the guy that's like, oh, you've never heard of this band before? And it's like, you know, I became that dude for a bit. But yeah, it's all that, I love all that shit, for sure. Excellent. And so listen, yeah, Sun and Cell Club, I listened to a lot of that, like Gangrene and Jerry's Kids and shit like that, trying to get pumped up for that record. And those records are actually pretty easy, because I just have to get super fucking caffeinated and then come in here and like you write the record in like 2 hours, just fucking barfing out shit, and then just shelve it for a bit, and then go back and listen to it. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Like I dumped out all the pieces, and then later on in a more like methodical mindset, I go, oh, this part goes with this part, and this part goes with this part, and then I construct it like outward like that.
I love that record. Will there be more Sun and Cell Club?
Yeah, I mean, I'd assume so. It took us 10 years to get that last one, but the first one was with the vocoder. And that's when my wife was like, you know, she's like, I want to have a kid. I'm like, oh shit, you know, I better start fucking doing some stuff to get it out of my system, because I don't even know how expensive this is going to be or whatever. And then once we had a kid, actually she was pregnant during the second one, Great White Dope. So that one was like, okay, now it's real. She's going to have the kid. She had my son Hunter, I think like 2 weeks after we did a photo shoot for that record. And then 10 years went by, you know, and I didn't really do anything with that. And then after a while, I was like, fuck, I gotta do another Sun and Cell record. And it's all just inspiration shit, you know. Like one day I'll sit down and just play a bunch of aggressive stuff and go, well, that's gonna be for that. You know, it's whatever the mood is, I guess. But yeah.
That it's also interesting. I was looking at the Bandcamp bio for Slower that you wrote, and I think it mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was during lessons where someone was asking you to teach them Slayer songs, right? Where you kind of got inspired to do that record. Is that right? And does that happen a lot, where like you have inspiration from your students? You're like, I'm playing this now, maybe I can do something in that style. Is that how a lot of that stuff comes up?
All the time, yeah. I mean, I teach people all day long, and it's all different kinds of stuff. And, you know, it might be things I'm not even into, that, you know, like a kind of music that I would never listen to, but I'm like, well, that's actually a cool chord change, or that's an interesting way to go to a bridge, or whatever. So that helps a lot with writing. But yeah, the Slower thing, I was teaching somebody, I think South of Heaven, and as a beginner, you know, like it's just real slow like this, and it was like ding. I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And I was like, what does that sound like tuned way down? I had to tell my students, hold on, I gotta check this shit out real quick, and tuned way down and played it slow, and then put on a drum beat on my computer and just played along, and I'm like, there's something there. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was doing that with the the drummer from Poison Idea before he passed away.
Yeah.
And so we would text back and forth about ideas about that record. I'd send him stuff, and then he passed away right as we were getting ready to start, which was kind of devastating. And so I shelved it for a year, and then I saw Esben from Monolord posting stuff like, hey, here's a drum beat if anyone wants to play along with it or whatever. I got this studio, and I was like, I'll just send him some shit and see what he does with it. And he kind of lit a fire under me where he was like, no, let's keep going. This is rad. Give me another one. And we just kept going from there.
Yeah,
Got a bunch of people involved, and everyone involved on those records I'm highly grateful for, because everybody kicked ass a lot. So yeah, it was really fun.
We had Amy from You're the Cobra on, talking.
She's
a little bit
insanely talented. It's
yeah,
crazy.
and I think it was the fact that you guys went and started to do some of your own material with Slower. I think I love the Slayer songs, but the fact that you guys have your own stuff now, I think it takes the stuff to the next level.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, we were just texting this morning about getting stuff going again, and I'm down to do like an all originals record. Like, I'm almost done with this Axe Dragger thing. For me to do like two things at once like that, it's a little much. I mean, I could do Fu Manchu whenever, because that's a collaborative effort. Like, we're all kind of doing stuff, but yeah, when I have to like come up with everything riff wise on my own, it's like I gotta get through one thing to move on to the next. But that's in the works though, for sure. And
Awesome.
I've got hard drives over here filled with riffs that I gotta just go through and go, that's a good one from 10 years ago, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Amazing. Just back to your students and your teaching. Have you been stumped, or is there something that somebody wants to learn that you yourself are like, this is not, or is it at this point, you're pretty good with just about anything that comes your way?
I mean, the last thing that it I don't want to be like, it never really happens, but there's a band called what are they called? Imperial Triumphant.
Oh yeah, they wear masks, right? Gold masks.
Yeah. Someone's like, I want to check this out, and it was like at the end of my day after teaching for 10 hours, and I'm like, yeah, let's check it out. I threw it up on YouTube, and I was listening to it. I was just like, what the fuck? It's so rad. Like, it's so fucking out there, and all the chords are, and they got Kenny G playing on it, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this band? So that would, I had to wrap my head around and be like, all right, and I'll go, like, you can slow shit down on YouTube, and so I'll go like, I'm like, okay, that's, you know what I mean? And then write it down and just piece it together. But yeah, that one, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, really, that shit's awesome. It's really cool.
It's some crazy stuff. Turbo, what do you got, Bob?
Just kind of a confirmation on the last Fu Manchu album, on the end of the song, Hands of the Zodiac. Is that you or Scott paying homage to Eddie Van Halen? Or is that...
That's me.
That's you?
Yeah, because you heard the whole, like...
Yeah. I was like,
yep.
That's got to be what I heard. I hope that's what I heard.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, it's very much a tip of the cap to Eddie Van Halen. Yeah.
Love it.
I grew up with all that stuff, too. So.
Are y'all working on more Fu, or just going on
right
tour?
Now we're still in like the touring cycle, so we go to Europe next Tuesday or Wednesday to do some summer festivals, and then we come back for about 2 weeks, and then we do a full States run. Well, actually, we just did the West Coast, so everything but the West Coast. And that takes us to the end of September. And then we have one local show in San Diego, and then I think that's it for the year. So the touring is starting to wind down, and then we'll start writing stuff again. We got a live record coming out
cool.
from shows from our European tour last year. I think that comes out next month, so that's a new one. And then then it'll wind down. We'll just fucking repeat the process. Just keep writing and putting out records. I don't even know how many records we have at this point. It's pretty crazy.
You have a lot, and
I don't even know.
The cool thing about all of them, or that they're all good. Like there's definitely not a.
Thank you.
There's no stinkers in that batch for sure, and I think the new one really reiterated like how strong you guys are as a band, because that record just ripped it up. And there are bands who are at that stage in their career that you don't expect it to be as good as it was. I think like you guys in Clutch to me are like just the standard bearers of like solid bands that have been around forever who just what you guys drop are just, the fans are going to dig it. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think that with Return of Tomorrow, like this lineup's been together for 24 years, and so without that kind of longevity, it would have been difficult to make. I mean, and we all still kind of grow as musicians and shit, so that helps a lot to be able to bring new stuff to the table, but still keep it in the parameters of Manchu and everything. So.
Yeah, just such an amazing band, and you were one of kind of my entryways into kind of the heavy rock arena. I was always into like metal and stuff, but when the Action is Go came out, that was like that record changed stuff for me. So
yeah, I was really young on that record. I was like 19. I think I'd only been playing for like 6 years, and then I was working at a music store with the bass player, and he's like, "Hey, we kicked out the other guitar player," and I was like, "Oh shit, you should get me." And I was just kidding. 'Cause I was like 18 at the time, and then I turned 19 when we started doing Action is Go. And yeah, I look back on that record still, just like, what the fuck? Like, that's awesome, Yeah. And even when we were doing it, I'm like, I was really excited because I love Fu Manchu, and I was like in the band recording with them, with the guitar player from White Zombie producing, and Brant from Caius on drums. I'm just like, and I was so excited. But now, even looking back, I'm like, I'm still really proud of that record. I think it's aged really well, and it's funny, like the guitar tones on there, because I was pretty broke at the time. I had like an Apple phone with like a George Lynch pickup or something. It was just something I'm like I got to figure out something here, and it turned out really well.
Yeah,
and I like that pickup. So
yeah, that record. And In Search Of, to me, are my two favorite Foo records. But it doesn't matter. You just grab them and you throw them on, and they're just love them all. I had a big Scenic Nowhere question. We talked to Tony Reed and mentioned a little bit about the most recent record, and whose idea was Sarah's Smile, and did you think it would turn out as good as it did? Because when you look at it and when you saw the track list, I think we were all like, but if anybody can pull it out, it's these guys. But like, was that a discussion? Who brought that to the table? And did you imagine it would sound so good when it?
I mean, if I remember correctly, it was Gary from Yanni Man that he like heard it when he was at a Mexican restaurant or something, and he's like, yeah, man, I was out to eat and I heard Sarah Smile, and he's like, we should do that, but we should make it all tripped out in the middle. And make it like a long jam. I think originally he wanted to do it like 20 minutes. He was like, we start with Sarah Smile like the first half, and then we just jam forever, and then we end it. And,
is that every song he wants to do, though? I feel like that might be every song he wants to do, is some 20-minute totally. Long jam, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we ended up cutting it down a little bit, but there's a middle section where we jam out. And yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything, covering stuff, especially with guys, that are that accomplished. I mean, fuck, Tony Reed can put a harmony to anything. That guy's, it's ridiculous. So it's like, oh, you want to sing some fucking Hall & Oates shit? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, and he nailed it.
Of course he can do it.
I mean, that song must be impossible to sing. And then Tony's just like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah. And yeah, he was like, I hope they like it if they hear it. I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm like, dude, no, it's fine. It's fucking awesome. And we got their keyboard player on there too, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's very cool.
But yeah, I didn't know how it would turn out, but I just tuned down the guitar a little bit, like a whole step, and then started laying out the grid of it, and then we just jammed out over it, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool.
I would
agree. I went to Gary's house to have him do overdubs, and there's some weird chords in that song. I mean, it's not common stoner rock shit. There's fucking jazz chords all over the place, And I was trying to I'm like, yeah, it's this and that and that. And he's like, whatever, dude, just fucking roll tape. I'll do it. And then he just nails it, and I'm like, all right. That was good. Yeah, that was like his first take. All the Gary shit on there is his first take. Meanwhile, I'm laboring over here, fucking geeking out on what chord is that? What the fuck? And he's like, I'll just do this over it. So it was a fun thing to do.
Does the Yawning Balch stuff give you kind of carte blanche just to plug in and do whatever? I feel like that is might be a way to get some different creative stuff out there outside of the normal kind of stuff that you do, but
yeah, I mean, I love Yanni Man, and I've seen him a bunch, and I remember watching them one day and just going, "Fuck, it'd be rad if I could just get up there and jam with those guys." Like, because I'm a music dork, and I can kind of hear like, "Oh, they're using that scale or they're in this key now or whatever," and yeah, Gary just called me one day. He's like, "We should jam," and that's how we started Big Scenic. But then I think we had some time in between records, and he's like, "Let's just come out and jam." And I think he wanted to call it Yawning Bob or whatever, and I was like, let's just go with Yawning Balch. That's better. Yeah, it's cool with them because it's like we got together for like 5 hours and just jammed for 5 hours. Then you have like 2 records. It's just like, doink, there you go. I mean, that's the whole point. But I think for us, when I get together with him, our main thing is like we're just geeking out on pedals. He's like, look at this one I got, look at this one I got. I'm like, fuck, let me try that one. You could try this one. And it's just like, I should take more pictures of when we jam those records because there's pedals everywhere. You can't even walk around. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the weirdest combinations of pedals. And it's more or less like a pedal demo expo type thing. But,
it's again like just great stuff that we love. And the other. Just another cover that I really enjoyed was you and the Howling Giant doing Godzilla on that Blue Oyster Cult tribute record. Are you a Blue Oyster Cult fan or yeah? Okay, all right.
Totally, yeah. And I mean, Fu Manchu's been playing Godzilla since before I was in the band, so that was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, that was another one. They just emailed me, and I'm like, yeah, I think I got like a half hour today. I could just do a lead and send it over, and if you don't like it, just let me know, and I'll do another one. But,
yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I obviously the Fu has done it. Did it on the EP, right? And then you guys play it live all the time.
We play it live a lot. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Turbo, what else do you have?
You're trying to think. I don't remember what tour I caught you all on. It was about 20 years ago. But when I heard you all end with Saturn 3 on every show, right? Pretty much.
I think cat's out of the bag. I mean, we talk about that. Like, should we have a Saturn 3? And we're like, fuck it. It's a good way to close. But,
do you? Because when I heard it that night, it was like an experience. And I was wondering, do you play it the same every time, or do you mess around and jam out a little different?
For the most part, it's played, like the structure is the same, but there's a lot of room for me to noodle and get weird and stuff, and that's always different. I mean, there's like core elements that stay the same. But for the most part, yeah, it's just like an improv thing that we do at the end. And we've been playing it for so long that we never really sat down and were like, okay, now this part we're going to slow down, and at the end, Reader, you do this fill, and I'll follow you. I think it was a natural progression of that song over the years of playing it and until what it is today. And we always talk about that, like, fuck, should we end with Saturn? We always end with Saturn. And I'm like the first guy to like, yeah, we should, because it's fucking rad. It's such a good way to end the show. But if people watch this now, that they know what we close this.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. We've been doing it for fucking like 20 years. So that's all good.
That does lead to a question. Do you guys, when you go on tour, do you have like the set that you're doing, or is this a discussion every night since you have such a vast catalog of things that you want to bring?
Yeah, we change it up. Like, we try to change it up every night, especially if we're playing like 2 hours from another town, like on the East Coast somewhere where things are a little bit closer together. Yeah, but every night we sit there and Hill's got the fucking Sharpie and he's writing it all out and what do you guys want to do next. And, there's songs that we'll interchange. Like last night we did this one, instead we should do this one. We'll do that kind of shit. And every once in a while we'll talk about digging up some deep cuts and throwing that in the set. But yeah, it's different every night, which I kind of prefer. Keeps you on your toes, and you got to actually look at the set list and like, oh, that's what's next. It doesn't become like too robotic.
Any food songs that you haven't played in a while that you want to bring back into the set?
I mean, they know this because I'm always like raising my hand for Cyclone Launch off of In Search Of.
Nice.
Like, I'm always like, he'll be like, fine, we'll do Cyclone. What should we do next? And I'll be like, Cyclone. Let's do that again. Let's keep doing Cyclone Launch until everybody leaves. I think if we did Cyclone Launch until everybody leaves, I've always thought about that. Like, there's like 1,000 people in a room and we just keep playing the same fucking song. How long would it take to clear out that room? It would probably take like a couple of hours, but there'd be some stragglers. There'd be a couple dudes like, fuck yeah, they're doing Cyclone again. Like, I would play it until everybody left. But yeah, that one I love adding to the set. I like Trapeze Freak. off of Daredevil. I like adding that one a lot. We started fucking with Grendel Snowman. That's pretty fun.
Any ones that you get pushback on from the rest of the band that says, I don't want to do that? And
I mean, no, because we all kind of have the same idea of what songs work live, and the settings dictate the set list too. So like if we're playing like a big festival, we'll tend to steer clear of like the faster stuff, because it's just like sound bounces around too much when you're outdoors at a big festival. So like the slower like head bob and stuff usually goes over better, but in like a tight club, like the faster shit's pretty rad. So yeah. I mean, it's always Cycle and Launch for me. And I'm trying to think. We have so many songs. I'd like to bring back maybe Signs of Infinite Power is kind of a fun one. I really like playing El Monstro Atomico, but that takes up like the majority of the set.
Yeah.
You know, so that one's on the back burner for now. But yeah, I like them all. There's certain songs that are like I don't like playing because I have to be like, all right, this is what the fuck I'm doing right now. Like I can't just turn off and play the fucking song, you know. But other than that, no, all of them are pretty fucking fun.
That's good. Yeah, awesome. Go ahead, Turbo.
With all that you've done, and you may have done one, and I don't know about it. Have you ever been approached or thought about doing a soundtrack for a movie?
I mean, I would love that. I would love to have that fall into our laps and be like, yeah, that'd be awesome. We've never been I mean, we've had songs in movies, you know, like our own stuff that's already been released, but providing like the score for a movie would be so fun. I would love to do that. And I would love to do that before it's just too easy for like an AI to do that, to be like, oh yeah. But I mean, I think that, you know, I'm 47, so I think the majority of the people that got into Fu Manchu in the late 90s are older now, and maybe some of them that are listening to your podcast are filmmakers and need some music, so hit us up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be really stoked to do that. I did stuff for it was a cartoon that like a buddy of mine was producing for, it was Disney. It was called like Detroit City or something, I forgot, but it was really fun. He's like, come on up here, we'll pay you for the day. And they had like a giant screen of the cartoon, and then the guy that was like the director or whatever, he just had drum beats programmed. He's like, here's a car chase, and it's like, and he's like, just make up some shit over that drum beat, and I'd play it, and then double it, and then harmonize it, and then add a bass, and he's like, okay, that's cool, let's go to the next scene. And it was fucking super fun. That would
be cool.
And that made it to the cartoon.
I can't remember,
it's out
because
there?
I wasn't the guy who usually did it. The guy that usually did it was on tour, and so they called me and they're like, you want to come up and do this? I'm like, fuck yeah. I can't remember the name of the cartoon, but it was like on Cartoon Network. Yeah, it was like a big show. I forgot what the fuck it was called.
I'm gonna
It was
have
really
to do
fun.
some research. Turbo and I were just looking for like a definitive list of stuff that Bob Balch has done, and it does not exist. Like we looked everywhere for it, and it does not exist. So we were just piecing things together. But there's just a lot that you've done, and that's your body of work is amazing for someone. And again, you mentioned how old you are, and you've got a lot more years to go, and there's so much stuff already that you've put out there. I asked this too. We interviewed Wino yesterday, actually, and we asked him what his favorite album that he was on, and he could only give us a top 5, which wound up being like a top 7, I think. Could you call out something that you've been on that you would say is your favorite material that?
Yeah, I'd like to hear Wino's list too, but I'll get to the podcast. Yeah, I mean, Action is Go has got to be one of them. How many do I get? Top 5?
Yeah, 5. Let's go 5.
Okay, Action is Go, because that was my first one with Foo, and that one's really important to me. We toured our asses off on that one. The newest Foo, just because I'm really proud of where we've gotten at this point. I really like Vision Beyond Horizon from Big Scenic Nowhere, because that was the first collaboration that Gary and I really sat down and got together and got other people involved. The slower record, just because it took so fucking long, and there was some pretty devastating hiccups, but it actually came out as 4. And let's see, I mean, I might have to pick. I'm looking at records that just came out. I might have to pick more than 4. I don't know. Those are good. I mean, the Sun and Sail Club. Those are really important to me too. But I think maybe the newest Sun and Sail, Shipwrecked. I think because of the 10-year hiatus between the last one and this one, I was just stockpiling shit and shelving it, and so it's kind of for me, I listen to it and I go, oh, that was from a fucking way long time ago, and this was from a few months ago. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a timeline that only I can see and understand. But yeah, I like that one a lot.
I love that record.
The Yanni Balch stuff too. I love that. I mean, the last one with Mario's great. The first one, that lineup's fucking awesome. So it's hard to say, but I mean, Actions Go is pretty high up there for me. I think that one's pretty important.
Who came up? I for your new project, and we'll wrap up just talking a second about that. Who came up with Axe Dragger? Because and I can't believe it's not been used before. That seems like right? A name that would have been used before.
There's other names on the table. Those are all Pete Campbell's ideas, and I think he had another name in mind, and he kept sending me demos and having it titled as another name, and I would just record on it and send it back as Axe Dragger. I don't know if you ever caught that, but I would just relabel it, Axe Dragger, here's this one. And then eventually he's like, do you want to just call it Axe Dragger? I'm like, yeah, dude, that's fucking awesome. And then, so that was his.
So is it going to have a Frazzetti cover?
A what?
Like Frank Frazzetti cover, like Molly Hatchet?
Yeah, pretty much. I thought you said, is it going to have the first Eddie cover, like Eddie from Iron Maiden? But I was like, yeah, that too. I mean, I just reached out to the guy that did artwork for Slower and Sun and Sail, and I'm like, I need like a iconic kind of Eddie style figure, you know, and it's got to be medieval and fucking dark. And he's like, all right, I'm on it. So we'll see what comes from that. But yeah, it'll totally have the Molly Hatchet, fucking early Maiden shit for sure.
I'm picturing the Axe Dragger. We'll see what the picture in my mind actually comes out to be.
I don't even know what it looks like either. I just gave him ideas, you know. I just gave him some sentences, like, see what you could do with this, this, and this. But it'd be rad to have something that we could use on future albums and have that character evolve, just like Eddie and fucking Vic Rattlehead and all that shit. Yeah.
So this is not going to be a one-off thing. You don't think this is a band? You think?
It's hard to say. I don't know. We all live in like different areas and shit, so I don't know how often we'd be able to get together and play, but it's been a really fun process. And I mean, I grew up with all that shit, so it's just in my blood to keep going and playing that kind of music. I mean, my interests are everywhere, but the 13-year-old in me is like, yeah, let's do another one. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but it's not too hard to churn the shit out, you know. So as long as we all stay inspired and we want to do it, I'd say, yeah, let's fucking keep going.
Love it.
We got to finish this first one, though.
Yeah, yeah.
It blows my mind that I never made the connection. I don't know how many times I saw Lord Tracy back in the day, and I never made the connection that Terry was part of Pantera before.
He's fucking, the shit that he's sending us is just fucking, it's crazy. Like he sends it to me, and I'm like, well, I get to send it to other dudes. I just fucking release it to them, you know. But I mean, we just fucking laugh. We're like, this is insane. Like the vocals are so strong, and the words are perfect for that shit. It's all just Conan the Barbarian style fucking debauchery. It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Well, Bob, I know you are a very busy man, and I can't thank you enough for joining and talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out and asking me.
This has been amazing. The new record, Axe Dragger, cannot wait for this. We're talking spring, right? Spring of next year, probably?
Yeah, probably like March, around then. So.
Excellent. If you are in the neighborhood where Fu Manchu is playing, go and see Fu Manchu, obviously.
Yeah, we're touring the States in September, and we're going overseas in 2 weeks to do some festivals, so check that shit out.
And is that, did you mention where? Like, are you doing West Coast, East Coast from the U.S.?
The States run, it's everything but the West Coast. So East Coast, Midwest, and, we'll hit Denver and Phoenix and stuff. But, it'll be about 3 weeks. So we'll get all the major markets.
Rich is hoping that you'll come down to Florida.
I'm begging for an Orlando show at some
shit.
point. So.
Well, sorry about that. Yeah, that's not on the docket, but we'll get down there sooner or later. For sure. Where do you live in Florida?
I'm outside of Orlando. I'm in Melbourne, so I'm always
Yeah,
begging to
we
bands.
haven't played down there. It's been like 20 years or something. But yeah,
It's
that
time.
would be nice. I mean, just because we're all fucking family, man, and got kids, we got to get home and shit. It's like
It's a pain
do the
in the
whole thing,
ass.
and you get down into Florida.
Yeah.
It's like fuck, and then you got once we have more time. What I would like to do is split it up and just do fucking East Coast, get home, South, Midwest, get home, and then West Coast. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We do what we can.
Yeah, you either have to start here or end here. That's really the
Yeah,
only
right.
options. But anyway, everybody go see Fu Manchu. Listen to anything Bob does. Thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. And good luck in Europe. Enjoy the
All right,
tour.
thanks guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Talk to you
See ya.
soon.
I don't know how to hang up.